We are live here on a Monday morning. It is A to Z Sports. I'm Zach Bingham. He is Sam Phelan, and we've got a big-time show, the moment that every Titans fan and every Titans fan has been looking forward towards, every Texans fan has feared for years. They are here. The Oilers throwbacks are official. We are going to officially grade them and then put them up against some of the other throwbacks in the league that have been released up until this point. But man, what a release. The buildup was palpable leading up to last night at 8 o'clock when the Titans finally released these uniforms. We'll go through some pictures. As I said, we'll compare them. And then we've got an Ask Me Anything question to close this show out. Sam, welcome on in. Tell everybody what they need to do before we officially get going.
Hey, let's do it. Before we jump into today's show, make sure everybody out there is sharing the show. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, copy it, paste it, send it to a friend, text message, group message, whatever it is. Say, hey, Talking Titans throwback uniforms, Talking Oilers throwbacks. Find that Titans fan or Texans fan in your life. Maybe you want to rub it in a little bit. Introduce them to A to Z Sports. That's the best way to support before we kick things off here on a Monday morning.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to follow us on Threads if you're on Threads, as X becomes Twitter becomes X, and all these other moving parts.
What is the
maybe
deal
that's the question we should ask at the end of the show? What is X?
I'm very confused by this whole X movement thing. As long as Twitter stays the same, I'm fine with it. But I don't know what Elon's cooking. Whatever.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Let's officially get this party started. Welcome to A to Z Sports. I am Zach Bingham. He is our Titans reporter, Sam Phelan. And this is A to Z Sports live in the morning. We've got a great show in store for you. And we cannot forget about our title sponsor, BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. They've got you covered. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports. Got a big season on the horizon, and BetMGM is locked and loaded there. Also, our presenting sponsors that include Aura. Download the Aura app to prevent spam callers. We've done that within our company. You get a 2-week free trial at aura.com/A to Z. Krebs Kubota, that's Krebs with a K. The premier Kubota dealer in Middle Tennessee, 3 different locations in Middle Tennessee. Farnborough Health Plans of Tennessee, FBHP.com. Your plan, you can get signed up today. Better rates, better service, better coverage. Wilson County Hyundai. We love Wilson County Hyundai. Quick trip down I-40 exit 236. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Check out their inventory today. And the Bone and Joint Institute. Do not fumble on your recovery. That is the Bone and Joint Institute, state-of-the-art facility down there in Franklin, Tennessee. All right, Sam, let's just kind of tell this story real quick, and then I want to get your immediate reaction. Then we'll obviously get the chat involved. The build-up to the jersey release was yesterday at 8 p.m. Central Time. The new drip came down the pike, and this is what was released officially by the Tennessee Titans.
Over the years, certain teams have developed tough guy reputations.
Add to that list, Steve, the newest bullies on the block, the Oilers.
How's the pain, baby?
Here goes Earl Campbell.
Boom, goes deep.
And the man, touchdown! Touchdown, Oilers! But there! Oh, my goodness! Eddie George down the left sideline. They won't catch him.
If you were part of that team, you'd know why. If you weren't, you'd never understand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. What a video. What a reveal. Titans social media team, I see you. That's some nice work right there.
Yeah, no, I think that they did a superb job from start to finish of the buildup. They obviously got leaked, but that's not their fault from a few days ago. You know, somebody in a warehouse gets Twitter famous or X famous, whatever you want to call it. and they take the picture. So we saw them, but it's still not the same when you actually see them on the players. And a lot of people, I saw on the internet griping. It's like, look, we've seen these before. They're throwbacks. It's not anything new. But when you see these uniforms on the new players, that have never worn them, I think that's the value. Plus you start to think of, and I love jerseys. I've always been a uniform guy, a uniform connoisseur. And, for these Titans throwbacks, I don't know, it gives a little juice to this season on top of DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans, last week. This is really good PR day after day after day.
I liked what you said, because I saw, everybody saw that, right? The section of Twitter that was very like, hey, we've seen these before, who cares, whatever, they're Oilers jerseys. But I do think any throwback jersey has a little bit of modern flair to it. These things are a little bit more crisp and clean than the original Oilers jerseys were. We've got the stitched lettering, it pops a little bit more. I think it looks a little bit better and more modern. So it's nice to see the modern spin on some of these throwbacks, as well as, like you said, seeing Derrick Henry in an Oilers jersey is just pretty cool and fires you up a little bit. And then you add the hype video and talking about being bullies on the block is the identity of that Oilers team, and kind of fits under the Mike Vrabel narrative of what he wants his teams to play like. Yeah, it creates a palpable buzz for the season of thinking Titans fans are going to watch DeAndre Hopkins wear an Oilers throwback uniform and play at Nissan Stadium this year. That creates a level of excitement for the season that's all the way up here, and a really great time to do it too. Like you said, you want to create as much positive PR, as much good buzz as possible with training camp around the corner, because now we go tomorrow morning. We've got the Mike Vrabel press conference, and we're off in 2023. And I think excitement amongst this fan base is at an all-time high right when you want it to be.
Yeah, and you said about the stitched jerseys. It's kind of funny because I saw this on the internet, and Orlando brings this up. Shame on the NFL for not having stitched jerseys for team throwbacks. Well, the players are going to be wearing stitched jerseys, and you talk about the numbering and the lettering on them. I think that there was a logistics snafu, as they say, to provide those for fans. But the NFL has got to be smart enough, and Nike is involved into this because they're the official apparel of the NFL. They should know that these fans, of the team are going to want to get their hands on them. They want to rock this. Yeah. And I think it works even better because, and some of the things that we know about these throwbacks, the Titans will not wear their light blue alternate jersey this year because the Oilers jersey, the throwbacks, will replace them, which for this year at least, and who knows what they'll do moving forward. And I think the fans are okay with that in that sense. But, there's been so many different jersey swaps over the years of putting Derrick Henry in this, Oilers blue, and now you get to see it. And look, I have one thing that I and Sam, we're going to do a little bit later on in the show, and I've been actually kind of holding on to this for you. This is not for Austin. This is for you, Sam. And I want to know if you agree or disagree with my theory. And I think this would be a good article that you could write to kind of get things going, because whether you like it or not, I think we had influence years ago on the code blue. Now, the Titans lost that game to the Texans late in the season, but the fans were cheering for code blue. I was trying to be a torchbearer for that code blue. I've got an idea a little bit later on in the show. I want to hear what you think. Let's get the fans involved, though. So let's put a singular letter grade on these throwbacks. We'll also show you a little bit more in detail right here on what they look at, or what they look at right here. These are pretty clean right here. So the question that we were going to be asking everybody is, what do you grade the Tennessee Oilers throwback uniform? So right there on the screen, Sam's got that for you. Put a letter grade. Is this an A plus? Is this an F minus? Is this a D plus? A straight C? What is it? Put those in the comments and we'll read those But first, I want to tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I got my health plan at Farm Bureau Health Plans. I'm really glad that I did. 200 plus locations across the state. They provide better service at a better rate and have better coverage. Those are three key things on why you should switch. You could switch individually. They also have family plans for you and your family. Plan on them for health, dental, and vision. They've got you covered. Get a quote today at fbhp.com/A to Z.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code on your screen. That's ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, place that first wager with that bonus code. Make sure you have the bonus code ATOZ Sports on BetMGM. And even if you lose money back in the form of a bonus bet, you get a second chance to win big. That's why they're the king of sportsbooks. It's why we love them so much. BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app.
A to Z Sports, we asked you guys grade the Tennessee Oilers throwbacks. And this is kind of crazy because they're not the Tennessee Oilers throwbacks. These are the Houston Oilers throwbacks. These are the 1980s edition. Yeah, because the difference is, and here's a little history, Sam, is the Tennessee Oilers actually had a patch on their jersey. Ooh. That was a specialty Tennessee Oilers patch. And I'm sure, fans know this. So this is actually the throwback to the Ode to Houston. We'll talk about the teams that they'll play and who they won't play. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I think on that note, we need to have a bit of a conversation then, because I haven't heard your opinion on this yet. I have my own opinion on this. Where do you fall on this Oilers, Houston, Tennessee thing? I like JJ Watt's all, heartbroken for the fans, tweeting about it. Houston Texans fans are obviously very upset at the idea of the Titans wearing Oilers throwbacks. And I kind of always put it in the mark. Well, there were the Tennessee Oilers, so you have that for a throwback uniform. But if they're going back to Houston, where do you fall on this throwback thing for another city? Because it's kind of unprecedented. You don't really see NFL teams doing this.
Well, Sam, I'm a businessman. And if you own the rights to something, I don't give an F. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
They own the rights. This is, who created the Houston Oilers? The controlling owner's father of the Tennessee Titans. So the Tennessee Titans own the copyright and trademark for the Houston Oilers. They can do what they damn well please with it, no matter how many tears are cried on the soil, the rock hard, hot soil of Houston, Texas. It doesn't matter. So I think what you own, and I think it's smart for Amy Adams Strunk to take advantage of this and release these type of uniforms. That's my thought on it.
My favorite argument, I don't even know if it's an argument, just my favorite counterpoint to Houston fans that are all upset about it is or pretending to be upset about it, in my opinion, is that you're crying all the tears now. Why didn't you care that much about the team when they were actually your team?
There's some politics in there. So I think that's a little bit unfair. It's not necessarily Houston's fault. I mean, there is shared blame on Bud Adams and the city of Houston, but I can't sit there and scream over the fans. It's just not yours.
Yeah, they were also dead last in attendance in the years leading up to the team moving. And so and now all of a sudden they want to act like our precious Oilers. They didn't support the Oilers when they were there. They don't support the Texans now that they're there even. And then they want to throw their arms up and be all poor me, we don't have our football team protected. I don't know, kind of.
The Texans are hard to support. You got to admit that. The last couple of years, they've been really hard to support.
Absolutely. And I mean,
the Titans were hard to support when they were picking number 1 and number 2 overall, and they didn't have an ownership group after Bud died. So Titans fans understand that. So look, I think there's parity. There's a roller coaster of the NFL. The Texans just drafted 2 premier players at the top of the draft. We'll figure out how, Stroud and Will Anderson do, but let's get to the grades real quick. So I feel like we're going to have a lot of A's, but I'm also looking for, other opinions on these jerseys. So the question that we're asking is, What grade do you give these Houston Oilers throwback uniforms? We're going to go to the comment section and scroll back up. Brian goes A. Zach goes A+. Zach Green does A+ from Pistol Ramsey. Ashley, Clayton, and Mr. Jones all go A. So does Austin. So does Steven. Titans Kyle goes A+. Nicholas goes A+++ there from Amar. Tighten Up goes A. Beth goes A+. Roger goes A. William Anderson says A+. Mr. Jones, I think mistypes and goes S. Demario goes A. Goes A. Let's see. Jody goes A+. Xavier goes A. Quayne goes A+. We have not gotten a B yet. More A's coming in from Tighten Up. Johnny A. Jeremiah. You've got Jay A+, Jason A+, Matt A+, Jonathan A+, Austin A, Scott A, Tobias A+. I mean, these are all A's. And then the first, of course, the first non-A that we get comes from Big Ten Jeff, a known Colts fan, which really, honestly, rates the jersey pretty high in the eyes of a Colts fan at a B. Lane says B+. Some more A+ coming in from Omar, Andrew, and Paul. So most all are A to A+.
Yeah, we had a couple. Jabu said F. Cody said F, that we ain't the Oilers, haven't been since 2000. Well, I mean, that's the point of a throwback uniform, is that, it's for a team that no longer
It's literally the definition.
Yeah. And I kind of want to touch on Big Jeff's comment too. So he said B because it's nothing new. I think you got to be careful with that. I think going back and throwing it back to some you previously wore and doing it clean with the new players, I think that works a lot of the time. I think designing something new for an alternate uniform can be very, very risky. And I saw him making a comment earlier about the Colts' new uniforms being really good. I think that's the worst thing I've seen in a very long time.
I agree.
That heathered blue with a black helmet, blue and black do not, especially a darker blue and black, do not belong together. Light blue and black, you got me. A dark blue and black, absolutely not. And I think the Colts are an example of a team that tried to play in this new uniform pool. They said, oh, everybody else is doing it, let's get a new one out there. And I think it's a major, major flop. So sometimes old reliable was something that we know can be really good and really clean. Zach, I'll go ahead and throw my grade out, and it's a big fat A. I won't say A+. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. I think this is just a big home run. It fires me up. It looks good, clean. I love a good throwback jersey that you can tell is a throwback visually, but also, like I said, feels like it has a modern twist to it and looks just sharper now. And when I see this, I just see a beautiful form of an 80s jersey. There's really nothing much I can say bad about it. I love a nice light blue. Light blue, I think, is the best color for uniforms that is as consistently clean and sharp, is that light blue. And then let's just throw up the picture here. This helmet. Wow, do I love this helmet. I love the stripes down the front of the helmet, just enough red to pop and really, I don't know, it's just a great, great uniform. Great uniform. I'm excited. It looks fast. I don't know if you believe that uniforms can look fast. I think this uniform looks fast. So it's an A for me. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, well, I think, these are throwbacks. We've seen them before, but now they have the new technology of the actual material, right? So that there is some slightly new. We've never seen Derrick Henry in this type of get up, which I think, as the face of the franchise brings a ton of value. I even look at the, at the bottom of the screen with Kevin Byard and the throwback Oilers hat. I just feel like it fits one after another. I'm going to give my grade, but first tell everybody about Aura, the great app that here's one thing. The Oilers uniforms are not spam. There was a full payoff yesterday for actually seeing it. But if If you want to get rid of spam, you can go to the Aura app.
If NFL fans were using the Aura app, they're still getting the Oilers uniforms. It's not spam. Colts getting blocked. Those Colts uniforms are getting the kibosh because Aura keeps you safe online, protects you from spam because anyone can find anything on the internet, including your full name, your personal email, your home address, relatives. But Aura found about 30 data brokers when I used the Aura app over the last month or so that are removing my information from the data brokers. They gain access to your information, buy it, and then sell it to spam callers, to telemarketers, to all of these things that make your phone blow up with no caller IDs and robots on the other end that drive you crazy. They will identify those data brokers, submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. They service features of VPN, a password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, and internet parental controls to protect your devices from malware. Anything and everything to keep you safe online, they have at Aura. I did it. Zach did it. Austin did it. It's gone great for all of us. It's as easy as can be. Just fill out some information, tell them exactly what you're looking for, hit submit on the app, and you are good to go. So use that link down at the bottom of your screen. It's aura.com/ATOZ for a 2-week free trial. It's aura.com/ATOZ.
Download the BetMGM app on your phone after the show. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you're a new user on your first bet. And that's huge. So download that today. Let's get to these throwbacks. I agree with the chat. This is an A+ uniform. This is not an A uniform. This is an A+ uniform. And there are multiple A+ uniforms in the league. There are 32 teams. Each team has multiple renditions of their uniform, especially now. I mean, we're seeing the Packers wear white pants now. Like, things are changing, right? They're evolving. But I think the combination of the light blue jersey, which I have an affinity for because I went to Ole Miss. I think those light blue jerseys are the best in college football. And honestly, it kind of looks similar, especially last year. The Ole Miss had the Real Tree white helmet, and they had a design on it, but it looked very close to this. It's a different type of blue, but I think what separates it is the Oilers white helmet. The white, light blue, and white, and then the throwback socks that not many people, I know we're not going to be able to see them because it's cut off, but there are throwback socks underneath that I also think look very, very cool. This is an A+ uniform. The payoff came yesterday, and it did not disappoint. I don't know how they could have messed it up. Maybe they could have put like a Louisville chrome red face mask. That would have messed it up. They did exactly what they needed to do, and they executed it, I think, perfectly.
Yeah, I love this trim on the shoulder pads too. That's just like another tiny detail. But look at Big Jeff's arm in this photo with the tiny 3-tone red, white, and blue trim on the edge of the shoulder. Like, it's tiny little details like that I think really throw this whole thing together, make it jump out at you that much more. And then, yeah, I mean, how do I grade that helmet? A+++++++. Like, that is such a fire helmet. What a helmet. Might be the best helmet in the league right now. And I think the NFL, the more that we hear this positive feedback on jerseys like this, I think we just need to start moving as a league to letting teams have fun with their uniforms. Like, this rule that we had of only so many jerseys and only so many helmets, like we've seen over the last couple of years now with the all-white helmets some teams have used, how much those have gotten some positive feedback. And now everybody's thrown in the throwbacks. Like, let's get more uniforms in the rotation. Who says no to more uniforms? It's more money for the league.
All right, I'm going to present. I guess here's why didn't you do A+? What was the differential?
I think there's a better one.
There's a better uniform.
And so, I mean, you could give them both an A+, but if the NFL throwback uniforms are my class and I'm a teacher, the one student performed as good as you can perform, and I give them an A+. And then the Titans were amazing performance, but maybe just a step down. So they just get like the A, but I do think there's an A+ student out there.
All right, so we'll get to the other throwbacks and kind of pin them against the Oilers throwbacks. Here's what I want to put on the table, Sam. And I feel very strongly about this. I think it obviously is time for a change because the Titans have told us it is time for a change. They are switching from grass to turf. I believe that they need colored end zones. They need light blue end zones with a Titans. They can use their same Titans logo script in the middle. But I want them to bring back, you can have the flaming thumbtack right there in the middle, and you can have light baby blue end zones that then you should transition and pull the flaming thumbtack out, put the oil derrick in, have Oilers end zones in light blue, and that would be that they should do that. So I want to ask you if you think that they should. I am instructing you or asking you, however you want to, we need to write an article on this. We have to write an article on this and see what, and we can put a poll together. We can do whatever, but we need, I'm all in on this, is light blue colored end zones. Long go the day of just Titans in white outline like the preseason, like they do. Sometimes they don't even do that. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm so happy you brought this up, and I'm happy to write an article on this because I've had this opinion since I was a little child about the Tennessee Titans and teams in general. You need more visible branding on your football field, on your stadium, at your stadium. They've gotten better at Nissan over the years with, I think like the light blue wall helps a little bit. And there's been some things that have kind of made it feel like a Titans home. You have to paint the end zones. Like you have to paint the end zones. I think it throws a stadium together to see that logo at the 50-yard line and some colored end zones that fit the team colors with seats and a wall that just match the vibe. And it makes it feel like, okay, you're walking into the home of the Titans, not a temporary field that the Titans are using as their temporary home for a little bit. So I think it would look 10 times better. I think it'd be a major facelift to Nissan Stadium. I think as you like, I hate that, my Bears don't do it. So I think any team that doesn't have colored end zones is really missing out on an opportunity for branding and for just a clean, modern look. Now that the Titans have shifted to turf, I need to see it. I totally agree. There's no reason not to have it.
All right. Well, we'll work on, I've got some ideas on this article. I've been thinking about this for weeks, and we will put together, we got a graphic designer to put together some renditions, and we'll put it in an article, and you can work on that early this week before training camp officially starts.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan?
I have so many countless thoughts on this. I'm going to go on a rant. I'm just going to be sitting on my computer typing away. I like this from Chris, like a blue end zone like there was in the Super Bowl. I think there are so many possibilities you can do. And like you said, you get the white trim of the sideline into a nice little light blue end zone wearing that Oilers helmet. Like, come on, that's as good as it gets right there. That looks
and
nice.
you don't see that. Like it's unique now. You can really piss Texans fans off and own the color.
I think you should just do it permanently in general, like an end zone that's colored, but especially when you wear these Oilers uniforms. And like, it was one thing that I had my fingers crossed for the new stadium is that there would be a colored end zone in the new stadium with some colorful seats to really make it feel like a home. I like when a stadium feels like the brand of the team. Is like walking into Minnesota. Everything's purple in that place. And you're just like, whoa, this is where the Vikings play.
Well, and let's see. Two-Tone Malone says Diop needs to release the jersey number. I mean, we haven't heard it. I feel like that's got to be coming next, but they got to go quick. look, there's some weird things that occur because, Derrick Henry wore number 2 during practice at one point. He actually wore number 24. Not many people know that. There's a picture of him in a Titans 24 jersey. I'm waiting on D-Hop to see what they're going to do, what he's going to choose. Is it going to be the traditional 10 like he has been, or who knows? But I agree with Two-Tone Malone.
What's the amount he has to pay Kearis Jackson for number 10?
Who knows? I mean, he can write the check. Cut the check.
Oh, I know. All right, so if you're DeAndre Hopkins, do you write the check or do you pick a new number for a fresh start?
I think numbers are very personal, right? Like my birthday's June 18th. I like the number of 18 because of that, right? So not maybe somebody else doesn't like 18 because of that. That's fine. So I feel like it's knowing the person to say what your like backup secondary numbers is. A lot of people love the number 23 because of Michael Jordan, right? There's a reason because of that. And so these are questions that you can ask D-Hop when the availability comes later this week.
I'm hoping, man. I'm Thursday probably for D-Hop availability. So that'll be the first time we hear from him.
All right. So look, I think we're on pace. We've got painted baby blue end zones that we're going to write about this week. We're going to see, we'll put together a poll. I've got an idea. I've already written this article 10 times in my mind. You can execute it. We'll get some help from our other A to Z sports team, our social team, our graphics team, and we'll put together a really good article. All right. Up next, let's pin these Oilers against the other throwbacks of the league. And I think this is interesting because there are some other fire throwbacks that have been released. This is, I think the Titans did a very good job, but we will get to that. But first, I'm going to tell everybody about Krebs Kubota. Krebs Kubota is the premier Kubota dealership, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment provider, and they've got you covered with 3 locations across Middle Tennessee, including Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. You can visit them online at KrebsKubota.com. They sell, they service, they supply parts with the best equipment in the industry. They've got a ton of inventory in stock at all 3 locations, and they believe in customer satisfaction. It is rooted in their outstanding parts and service department, and their goal is to have the best parts in the industry, and they absolutely do. 3 locations, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. That's Krebs with a K, Krebs. That's KrebsKubota.com.
Today's show powered by the King of Sportsbooks. I'm talking BetMGM and the BetMGM app. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM, and you can get up to $1,000 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet doesn't win. So whatever that first wager is, maybe Major League Baseball, maybe Women's World Cup, whatever you've got your eye on, you place the bet with that bonus code. And even if you lose, money back in the form of a bonus bet up to $1,000 and another chance to win big. That's why we love BetMGM. That's why they're the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM and the bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rank them. We are ranking these NFL throwbacks that have been released this offseason. The Vikings throwbacks, the Titans throwbacks. Unfortunately, you picked Baker Mayfield right there in the center, and that makes me sick. But the Bucks throwbacks, and then the Seattle Seahawks throwbacks. I think we can all consider, and this is my opinion, they all look good. Like I think they're all impressive. And here's a side note that we learned that I'm kind of curious about, and I think I have a theory on it. The Titans are going to wear these throwbacks at least twice. We don't know the games yet. I think it would be great if they wore them against Houston. I think that's what they need to do. They were going to try to, and this is a Monday Night Football game against the Dolphins in Miami. I think the problem is that the Dolphins throwbacks are aqua. They changed from a couple of years ago. They released their color throwbacks instead of their white throwbacks. And I don't know if they could wear those
blue versus aqua.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. I mean, they're too similar. So I'm curious. I would love to know some more detail if Jim Wyatt had that, or we may have to call the NFL office in that case. But ranking these Vikings, Oilers, Bucks, and Seahawks 1 through 4, I'm going to let you go to the comments to see what the fine folks at home think about these 4 right there all in a row.
All right, we're going to the comments. We're looking for your rankings of these 4. We have got Steven saying Titans are 1, Bucks 2, Seahawks 3, Vikings 4, Titans, Seahawks, Vikings, Bucks from Orlando, Titans, Seahawks, Bucks, Vikings from Craig. Titans Kyle says the Titans are first with the Seahawks right behind. Oilers, Bucks, Seahawks, Vikings from Jay. Ashley has the Titans up front with the Seahawks, Vikings, and Tampa Bay last. Kenny has Titans and Seattle are the only 2 that he liked. So those are the top 2. Same with Mario has Titans and Seahawks up front. Bucks 3, Vikings 4. Eric has the Seahawks at 1 with the Oilers at 2, the Bucks at 3, and the Vikings in last. Ernest gives a quick shout out to Seattle's Throwbacks, which he thinks are fire. Den has Tampa first, Tennessee second, Seattle third, Minnesota fourth. David Brown has the Titans in front with Seattle in second. Sky has the Titans in front with the Bucks in second. Lot here, Zach, of the Titans in first place. Titans the best, Hawks, Vikings, Tampa last. Jaron has the Seahawks in first place. Where are you here? These 4 uniforms. Which one is number 1? Who's bringing up the rear? How do you rank these 4?
So last is easy for me. It's the Vikings. I just have no affinity for that. I think that's pretty similar to their uniforms now.
I think it's a no-brainer because it's too similar. Like, I mean, it is clean. It looks a little bit vintage, which I can appreciate, but there's not enough different here for me to really be wowed by these throwbacks. They're fine.
They didn't even change the helmet. They used their same helmet. They just put a different face mask and a different sticker on it. So they're last. I think the tough is 2 and 3 for me because the Bucks are first. There's no way over my dead body. Those are the best throwbacks in the history of football. They are unique. They're my favorite team as a childhood team. I fell in love with them by 1994 watching those jerseys in the big sombrero. I hate that Baker Mayfield is the face of it, but I'm going to just have to suffer through this season unless he does really well, and then I'll be pro Baker. But I think the Bucks are number 1 for me. There's something about Bucko Bruce that brings out the best in everyone. So I think the tough one is the Seahawks versus the Oilers throwbacks, because I really like the Seahawks blue and that blue and gray. I actually think that
it's close. Those things are nice, man.
I think I got to go Seahawks 2. I hate to say that, Oilers 3.
Seahawks 2. So your Bucks 1, Seahawks 2, Oilers 3, Vikings 4. What is it about the Seahawks that you're really rocking with? Is it just like the blue? Is it the blue? Because I normally hate this color blue. I normally hate gray helmets. But there's something about this little combo with this neon green accents that I think works.
So here, I think, is the reason why I picked what I've picked. And it goes back to the DeAndre Hopkins thing that we talked about of you have your certain number. When I see those jerseys, I see the Bucks because that's where I grew up as like a young kid. And I see John Kitna. I see John Kitna in that uniform. And so I see the Kingdom. I see Ricky Waters. I see some of my childhood in and actually seeing that uniform where I was born in 1987. I don't remember the 1983 Oilers. Bum Phillips. I don't remember the iconic cowboy hat on the sideline. So it's kind of probably a product of age and who I am. And so that's probably why my rankings, they're razor thin close. I mean, they're top 3 easy. It's just, I think that's the separator for me.
Yeah, I think they're razor thin close too. I would say I would have to give the Oilers the edge over the Seahawks. The Seahawks are nice. I think they look clean. I think they're a little simple. And it's the red, this red trim on the Oilers, and I can't get over that helmet. I cannot get over this helmet compared to the plain silver helmet with like the old Seahawks logo. I think the Oilers helmet really, really elevates Tennessee here. So I would say the Vikings are last. The Seahawks are third. And as much as I would love to sit here and call you a homer and tell you that you're wrong and that you're just channeling your childhood memories with this Bucks, I said it a couple weeks ago. I'll say it again. This is the best uniform in sports. I adore this uniform. From the creamsicle, like just a beautiful orange. It's the perfect shade of red to complement the off-white, makes it look vintage and clean at the same time. The stripe down the helmet, the logo on the side of the helmet with the pirate face. This is as good as it gets. I love the orange stripe down the pants as well that you see on Mike Evans' leg right there. Like, I don't know if there's a better uniform than the Buccaneers orange throwbacks. And frankly, this is also what I think makes a great throwback. And maybe this is tough for a Bucs fan to hear. I think the Buccaneers uniforms stink. I think their current ones are some of the worst. I don't like the what is
crazy.
That?
Are you serious? They corrected their problem. I would get on board if you're talking about those neon flash numbers and big logo helmet that Jameis Winston wore. Those were trash. I agree with you.
What is this like grayish thing? What do they call it? I don't even remember.
It's called pewter, pal.
Yeah, I'm not in on the pewter. I don't like.
They're gorgeous. You talk about an iconic uniform with Derek Brooks in a red Bucks uniform with pewter pants and a pewter helmet.
You know who I see when I see that
screams you're getting hit.
This is who I see, and this is part of what you said though about who you see. I see Josh Freeman.
Yeah.
I see Josh Freeman, and I go,
yeah, and that's your age, and that's a sad thing.
And I go, I don't like that very much at all. I don't know. I don't like that colorway. I don't know why they ever went away from the orange. I mean, the orange is so
Sam, let's go back to the history. When the Bucks wore those creamsicle, they were awful. They were the worst team in the league for like the majority. The Seahawks and the Bucks came into the league in 1976. They both did. And the Bucks actually went to an NFC Championship game in 1979. And I know all this stuff because I'm a Bucks fan. After that, after Doug Williams went to the Redskins at the time and then won a Super Bowl, the Bucks were trash. The 80s were horrendous for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so in the late 90s, they needed something new and fresh, and so they went away from that. So this honestly screams probably how they're going to play in them this year, which is not very good.
Look, the thing with uniforms to me, I think it's a very simple recipe to describe what I like and what I don't like. I love contrast. I love something that pops, that's not too loud, but really is clean and jumps out at you. And there's something about that dark red next to pewter that to me is very it just doesn't do it for me because there's not enough contrast there. They're too similar. They're both dark colors that are it doesn't jump out. When I see that pretty red with this beautiful orange in this uniform that Baker's rocking right there and the off-white complements and the helmet and the numbers, that gets me excited. That's a uniform. That's what I like to see. And I think these Oilers have it as well. I mean, this pops, this jumps out at me. This is good contrast. It's why you see the same color schemes together all the time. Navy blue and red, navy blue and orange, yellow and black. Like there are certain things like that pop, but when you can do it in a very unique colorway, which these things do as unique as you can get, that's when I think you've hit the jackpot in a uni. So maybe it's a hot take. I don't love the pewter, but that's as good as it gets. And that's why when I give the Titans an A, I think there's an A+ standard in the NFL, and it's what they got going on in Tampa.
Couple of super chats before we get to the Ask Me Anything question of the day. Kane says that I argue the Colts throwback is better than Seattle's. The Colts, I don't know if Kane's talking about the Indiana Knights, because those aren't throwbacks. Those are just alternate uniforms. The throwbacks actually for the Colts, actually a helmet that they wore when Peyton Manning was around, where they had the 2 horseshoes in the back. Indianapolis has been very classic for the most time. And I think that's why they decided to kind of get overbearing with the Indiana Knights uniform that they released.
Do I need to pull up this thing though? Do we need to break this thing down? Because I've seen a lot of the chat saying that they like these things. And I think these are gross uniforms. I'm not a fan of these Indiana Knights things at all.
Yeah, I think they tried a little too hard. And then
blue,
Noah, go ahead.
Blue, you should not put heathered uniforms on the color blue. That makes a dark blue heathered uniform with a black helmet. No, thank you.
Especially when your traditional uniforms are very classic. You only,
and it's you're white and a little bit of a lighter shade of blue, and there's a lot of it's classic there. You don't wear a dark blue and black jersey when that's your brand. I don't know. Weird.
Noah brings up Titans on one end zone and Oilers on the other. I want it to be unique to the game, right? So I want light blue end zones that say Titans and the thumbtack in the middle. And then when they're the Oilers, I want the oil derrick in the middle and the 2 light blue end zones with this red. If you can see that down there at the bottom of the screen, that red Oilers in the end zone would look awesome.
You know what I think they should do too? I don't know if this is possible. Miss Amy would have to, pony up some extra cash for it. I'd like to see the wall that is light blue with Tennessee Titans all over it turn into an Oilers wall for that game as well. Fans,
I think that should be done. They have enough
going to the Oilers game should get this immersive throwback vintage Oilers experience where you walk in and it looks like you're watching the Oilers play. I think that would be cool. Give me an Oilers wall, give me the oil derrick in the middle, give me the end zones, all of it. Let's do the whole thing.
And I don't know if Mr. Jones, painted end zones are hazardous.
Hazardous?
Yeah, I don't think that they are.
How would they be hazardous? Because you're does he mean physically, health-wise? You get paint in your mouth when you hit the end zone? I don't know.
Well, when you're on turf, they're not painted. They're actually synthetically color.
It's the dots are your little beads are a color.
Yeah, it's made like carpet. That's what All Right did. It's talking about a slipping hazard.
Is that? I don't know.
Then why do they put it in the middle of the field?
It's a turf. It's still turf. I mean, it's the same material as the rest of the field. It's just a different color.
I don't think it's a slipping hazard. The Giants just installed colored end zones in there, so it can be done. I'm curious. Nobody's been talking about this. This is the first time that I've heard on the internet. I wanted to bring this to fruition.
Zach, I literally had this opinion back in the day. I remember sitting down watching that, the Mariota playoff game, those Mariota teams. And anytime I'd watch the Titans play at home, I was just I wish there was a little bit more branding. It feels like a fake team sometimes when they don't have a stadium that screams of their brand. And it's gotten better in the last 5 years of really starting to lean into that, the Titans identity. And I think that's where Miss Amy wants it to go. That's why I'm, over the moon for the new stadium. I think it's going to be so sick to have a place that is all right, the Titans are for real. The Titans are here to stay. The Titans are their own brand. But yeah, I'd like to see colored end zones and some more stuff going around at Nissan.
Some of that was due to Mariota's play on the field. But, all right, let's get to Ask Me Anything, and we will do that after Sam tells us all about where you should go if you are in a bind and you have a sore shoulder, a hip, or a knee. That is the Bone and Joint Institute.
It is the Bone and Joint Institute. They're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Visit them, schedule an appointment, boneandjointtn.org. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust, and you can trust the Bone and Joint Institute, located out in Franklin. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility to assist in your recovery, as convenient as it gets because it's all under one roof, all at the same campus, from rehab, image, surgery, testing, all in the same spot. You're not driving all over middle Tennessee trying to get from appointment A to appointment B. Just go out to Franklin, see them for the most reliable care there is, the most trustworthy care. So whenever you get hurt, go to boneandjointtn.org to schedule an appointment.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app. It is the bonus code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of the sports book, and they literally have you covered when it comes to betting. Preseason football is on the horizon, which is a good thing, right? Regular season football is on the horizon, which is a good thing. So download the BetMGM app today and use that bonus code. Let's get to Ask Me Anything. And our end of show segments are always brought to you by Wilson County Hyundai. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com. If you need a new car, used car, whatever it is, go to wilsoncountyhyundai.com. All right, today's Ask Me Anything is actually stemmed from something that I was a part of this past weekend, which I was down. Flew down to New Orleans. One of my buddies, my college buddies, passed away 5 years ago. So every year we do a Porter Fest trip, which is an ode of my buddy Porter, who's no longer with us. So all my college buddies get together. And so I flew down to New Orleans, and I don't want to say my answer before, so I'm just going to ask the question. But in New Orleans, and we actually stayed at a place called Bay St. Louis, but there was fresh seafood. So, Sam, what is your preferred seafood? If you can order what I'm talking, mahi-mahi, you want tuna, you want lobster, I mean, anything you want, what is your preferred seafood? And I'm sure people in the chat will say, well, I don't eat seafood. I'm allergic to shellfish. That's okay. That also is an answer. But that's the question that we are asking right there in the chat. What is your preferred seafood? And I'll kind of tell you what may have changed my mind over the weekend.
I think I do love seafood a lot. I have to qualify my answer a little bit. I would say it is crab, but it like crabs or lobster. Not a real preference between the two. Crab's usually a little bit more affordable, so I go with crab. I don't want it in the shell. I don't want to work for it. I'm not breaking open a shell and getting it out myself. I like crab meat and lobster meat. So like, I was in Florida. I was St. Pete Sam last week, and I had myself a lobster roll, and that is ideal for me. Give me the meat in a packaged way that I don't have to, carve up a thing to get it out. And then that's my preferred. But if you're giving me a crab leg, I'm not happy. I don't want to work that hard to eat like a little bit of meat. So that's I
feel like a crab leg is better though than the crab that would be served, right? So like you have now degraded or downgraded in that sense your seafood meat by not being willing to do it yourself.
That's possible, but I'm just I get my hands all dirty. My forearms start cramping up because I'm like trying to crack open a shell that doesn't want to budge. I don't know. I just want it. I want it served to me in nice little like chunks. I would say my like spin zone, like my other one, if I could pick, is scallops. So that's what I would say is like my other option. But I'd prefer crab or lobster as long as it's served. You have to go. You probably have to go to the East Coast to get it that way. Because like in the East Coast, they'll serve you. You go out to like New Haven or something like that. You can just get like a tray of like lobster meat or crab meat and stuff, and throw it in a So that would be my ideal scenario.
All right, let's go to the chat. Ashley says none. She's out on seafood. Lobster for Scott. Crab legs for Nick. MB says lobster. Crab for Mr. Jones. King crab legs for Eric. Lobster or crab for Titans. Kyle, scallops, there's from Danny. Crawdad, so you go crawfish right there. So that's something.
Had crawfish.
Oh, man, we got to get you to a crawfish boil. That will change your mindset real quick. Actually, you'll hate it because you got to work for really little meat. So
that's what I don't like about crab legs. People that's the other thing is you're working. It's not a lot of meat. Like in one crab leg, there's not a lot there. So you're kind of grinding for not a ton. Just give me the meat. That's what has the flavor anyway.
DeMarco's going octopus right there. Nathaniel goes crab, crawfish right there from Xavier. Raw oysters. I saw a lot of my buddies ate raw oysters. I don't eat oysters, but saw that down there on the Gulf Coast this weekend. Clams from Rooney. Tuna from Jody. I just thought this was pretty interesting. Got a couple more like scallops coming in there. Mahi. Downtown Nashville, right? At Etch. You may have to try that for Bryson, giving out some good examples right there. Daryl says blue crab and red snapper. Haven't really gone, seafood is a generality. We haven't really heard a lot of, fish or like snapper or salmon. We didn't hear any of that. So
I think just for, and the chat would probably agree, seeing what these answers are. I think shellfish is better than fish. And I like fish. I like sushi. But, something about crab, lobster, scallops, that I think it's better. It's just better.
So I love the idea of lobster and king crab legs, but you don't get them that often. Like you're not going – like, how often do you eat king crab legs? Now, maybe
I don't eat
others.
Legs at all. I get the po' boys. I get those sandwiches, which are
right. But like,
you have to be in a spot that.
I feel like you have to be in the right spot, and you have to like be in the mood for them. And I don't know. I just they're not real prevalent. So here is something that why kind of spurred me to this question. We went down to basically like, where the fishermen all come in, and we purchased 12 pounds of fresh Gulf shrimp that was caught that morning. We then boiled that shrimp with corn and mushrooms and onions and lemon. That is shrimp boil. And these shrimp, they're
12
huge.
Pounds of shrimp is
well, there were 11 dudes, and we ate all of it, to be honest. And that's why, and it was the freshest shrimp I've ever had in my life. It was delicious. And then you could pour some more Old Bay on it if you wanted to, spice it up. You could do, and we sat there and we all my buddies, we just went to town on 12 pounds of shrimp. And the taste of this shrimp, they don't sell that at Kroger. Big dog. That is not what you get.
Oh yeah.
And it changed my perspective on that. So I love the idea of king crab. Maybe I need to eat king crab that has just come out of the ocean to say, wow, this is the freshest thing I've ever seen. But right now, fresh, peeled, caught in the morning, jumbo Gulf shrimp, I think is really at the top of my list.
I'm a shrimp guy. I love shrimp. It's definitely the one I have most often. And knowing what I just said to qualify my answer about crab and, specifically crab meat, what is a better work to meat ratio than a shrimp that all you have to do is pull a little tail off of? Like there's not really a better work to food reward than that.
Yeah. And the amount of food that you get is a lot more than crawfish. And you're just reeling them off. You're just, give me more.
You give me, I don't even care if it's I can't even imagine fresh out of the ocean like that. Cause you give me a ring of shrimp, like that's just with a little cocktail sauce at a Super Bowl party. And I am just popping them back. Like I am just rolling with the shrimp. They're so easy and they are delicious. So yeah, fresh out of the ocean with some Old Bay, some lemon, like that's peak food right there. That's I'm not sure there's many things I'd put above that in terms of like American cuisines in a specific region of the country than being down in Louisiana and pulling some 12 pounds of shrimp fresh out of the ocean and then boiling them in that stuff. So that's S
Yeah.
tier. I give that an A+.
It was, and that's what spurred the question for our Ask Me Anything. We had some good answers. We had a great show, and we've got a big week ahead, right? And
Huge
big
week.
weeks to come. Training camp is officially starting this week. Players are reporting. We'll have all of the coverage. When I say follow us on all of our social medias, you need to follow us on all of our social medias. Obviously, like the show before you go. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our YouTube. Like our Facebook page. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We've got IG stories. We've got Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. We've got TikTok. We are in all of the places. And our Titans reporter, Sam Phelan, Austin, we've got our crew, our social team at A to Z. We have you covered for this training camp. So follow us everywhere, and we will be back bright and early tomorrow morning here on A to Z Sports. Have a great afternoon, a great day. Football is on the horizon. It's back, baby. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Adios.